Husband gets affair, partner pregnant, and she gives birth while we're in court. But karma bites him in. My husband's mistress gave birth to his child in the middle of our divorce hearing, and the irony was so thick you could choke on it. I sat there, in a courtroom that smelled of old wood and broken promises, watching Daniel squirm as his phone lit up with the news. By the time the judge's gavel fell, karma had already started sharpening its claws. My name is Emily, and I used to think love was a fortress, unbreakable, eternal. Daniel and I had built ours over 10 years, with late-night talks, shared dreams, and a little house we painted blue together. But fortresses crumble when someone sneaks in through the back door. And for Daniel, that someone was Chloe. It started with small things: his phone face down on the table, late nights at work, the scent of perfume that wasn't mine. I ignored it because I wanted to believe in us, but denial is a weak glue, and it shattered the day I found a text on his phone. Can't wait to see you. Babe, tell her you're working late. My heart didn't break, it burned. I confronted him that night, and he didn't even bother to lie. It's just a fling. It doesn't mean anything, he said, as if my world wasn't collapsing under the weight of his words. Chloe was everything I wasn't: younger, bolder, with a laugh that could fill a room. She worked at Daniel's firm, a paralegal with ambition sharper than her heels. I saw them together once, at a cafe, her hand on his arm, his smile too bright. I didn't make a scene. I went home, packed a bag, and called a lawyer. If Daniel wanted her, he could have her, but not without a fight. The divorce proceedings were a slow bleed. Daniel fought for everything: the house, the savings, even the old couch we'd bought at a flea market. He claimed he was protecting our future, but I knew he was building a nest for Chloe. Then came the bombshell, dropped casually by his lawyer in court. Chloe was pregnant, 8 months along. The room spun as I processed it. Daniel hadn't just betrayed me. He'd started a new life while I was still picking up the pieces of ours. The hearing was set for a Monday, and I spent the weekend preparing, not just for the legal battle, but for the emotional one. I wore my best suit, a navy blazer that made me feel like I could face the world, even if my heart was in tatters. Daniel sat across the courtroom, avoiding my eyes, his tie slightly crooked. Chloe wasn't there; she couldn't be. Not with her due date looming, but her presence hung over us like a storm cloud. The judge, a woman with steel gray hair and a no-nonsense stare, began reviewing our case. Assets, debts, infidelity. Every detail of our marriage was dissected like a corpse. I spoke when prompted, my voice steady despite the ache in my chest. Daniel's lawyer argued he deserved the house because he'd paid most of the mortgage. I countered that I'd poured my soul into making it a home. The judge listened, her pen scratching notes, her face unreadable. Then it happened. Daniel's phone buzzed, loud enough to echo in the quiet courtroom. He fumbled to silence it, but not before I saw the name flash on the screen. Chloe. His face went pale, and he whispered something to his lawyer. The judge raised an eyebrow. "Mr. Carter, is there a problem?" she asked, her tone sharp. "No." "Your Honor," Daniel stammered, but his hands were shaking. I knew something was wrong. Call it intuition or just the raw edge of betrayal. His lawyer leaned in, then stood. "Your Honor, may we request a brief recess? There's a personal matter." The judge sighed but granted it. Daniel bolted from the room, phone pressed to his ear. I stayed seated, my lawyer, Sarah, giving me a reassuring nod. "He's digging his own grave," she whispered. I wanted to believe her, but all I felt was the sting of being replaced. When Daniel returned, he looked like he'd seen a ghost. His lawyer whispered furiously, and the hearing resumed. But the air had shifted. Something big was coming. Sarah presented our next piece of evidence, bank statements showing Daniel had been funneling money to Chloe for months, money meant for our shared expenses. The judge's eyes narrowed, and I saw Daniel shrink in his seat. Then his phone buzzed again. This time, he didn't bother hiding it. He stood, voice trembling. "Your Honor, I need to step out. It's urgent." The judge's patience snapped. Mr. Carter, you are in a court of law, not a soap opera. Sit down. But Daniel didn't sit. He blurted, Chloe's in labor. She's having my baby. Right now. The courtroom fell silent, the kind of silence that presses against your eardrums. I felt every eye on me, waiting for me to break. But I didn't. I sat taller, my nails digging into my palms. Let him squirm. Let him feel the weight of his choices. The judge granted a short break, and Daniel rushed out again. Sarah leaned over. This changes nothing. Emily, we've got him. But it wasn't about winning anymore. It was about surviving. When we reconvened, Daniel's lawyer tried to spin it, claiming the baby proved Daniel's commitment to building a future. I almost laughed. A future built on lies. As the hearing dragged on, I testified about the years I'd spent supporting Daniel's career, the nights I'd stayed up helping him prepare for big cases, the dreams we'd deferred for someday never came. The judge listened, her expression softening slightly. I didn't cry. I'd done enough of that in private. Then came the twist no one saw coming. Sarah called a surprise witness, Chloe's former roommate, Mia. She was nervous, her voice barely above a whisper, but her words were dynamite. Chloe knew Daniel was married from the start. Mia said, she told me she didn't care. She wanted to win him. Mia produced texts, emails, even a voice memo where Chloe bragged about getting pregnant to secure Daniel. The courtroom gasped. Daniel's face turned ashen, his lawyer scrambling to object. The judge wasn't having it. She admitted the evidence, and I watched Daniel's world unravel. Mia's testimony painted Chloe not as a naive lover, but as a calculated player. And Daniel, he was no victim, he'd chosen this. The judge adjourned for the day, promising a ruling soon. As we left, I heard Daniel on the phone, his voice frantic. Chloe, what the hell you told her that? I didn't stick around to hear more. I drove home, the weight of the day pressing on my chest. That night, I got a call from Sarah. You won't believe this, she said. Chloe's not just celebrating her new baby, she's posting about it online, calling herself the new Mrs. Carter. I laughed, a bitter sound. She could have him. The final hearing was a week later. The judge awarded me the house, half our savings, and alimony. Daniel got nothing but his freedom and a child support order for his new baby. As we left the courtroom, he tried to approach me. I'm sorry, he started, but I cut him off. Save it for someone who cares. Karma wasn't done with him yet. A month later, I heard through mutual friends that Chloe had left him. Apparently, the reality of single motherhood didn't match her fantasy of winning. Daniel was alone, drowning in legal fees and child support, while I was rebuilding slowly, but surely. The house felt empty without him, but it was mine. I painted it red, just because I could. This story isn't just about betrayal, it's about resilience. I lost a husband, but I found my strength. Life doesn't always give you justice, but sometimes it hands you something better, the chance to rise. What do you think was Daniel's downfall, Fair? Or did karma hit too hard? Share your thoughts. End.